So just a few words. We love your books. And one of the phrases that is burned into our hearts and spirit is being an undignified worshiper.
Yeah.
So I hope we are undignified enough.
Very.
And would you add on to that?
Yeah, so that song, that's a funny song because it's a very simple song that I wrote years and years ago called Undignified. And there's a couple of funny stories around that song. One is one of my best friends was a guy called Martin Smith from Delirious. You remember those guys? And he leads worship a lot and writes. And he was a really great songwriter. And I was just starting out. And that was probably the most simple song I ever wrote, like 3 chords, only a few words. And one time he said to me, Matt, you should do an album of slow songs. And I said, oh, why? And he said, because you're not very good at writing fast songs. And I said, what about Undignified? He goes, well, it's not really a song, is it? So that was, funny. He had a very good point. And then there was another time where a bishop came up to me in Ireland. And he said to me, don't sing that song anymore. It's not scriptural. And I was like, the words come straight out of Scripture. It's like David. It comes from King David where he says, I will become even more undignified than this.
Yeah.
Now, fair play to the bishop. He read a different version of the Bible. And his version didn't say, his translation didn't say the word undignified. And I was very respectful with him, I promise you. But I promise. But I love that moment with David where he just doesn't care about anything else in that moment. He's just going to celebrate before the Lord. And he's just going to lose it in praise because he's seen who Jesus is. He's seen who God is, Yeah. And that's what happens. It's a revelation leading to response. In worship, you don't have to be like, oh, I guess God's kind of worthy, so I better, strip down and dance around like David, You don't have to do that. You just... When you see something of who he is, you can't stop yourself dancing or bowing or shouting or raising your hands. It's the reflex of the soul. It's the response. It's the reply. It's when you see the revelation of who he is, you can't hold that stuff back.
Oh, I love that. The reflex of the soul. That describes everything. And so, How to God Church, you are 16, 26 years old. Listen. Continue to be undignified. The things that we really do not want is that as you grow older, as you mature, and we get more dignified, and then we don't jump anymore, we don't lift our hands anymore, and we come to a form of dignified worship. Nah, forget about that. Let's have undignified worship before the Lord. Amen.